The bacteria that grows on spoiled food looks something like this. Not very appetizing, huh? Well, Ripley's dined with a man who believes that a healthy diet consists of eating rotten meat. Wait till you see what's inside this guy's refrigerator.
What would you do if you went to the fridge for a snack and saw this? If you're Aajonus Vonderplanitz, you grab a fork and dig right in. Believe it or not, he's been eating the foulest food he can find for the last 3 decades. In fact, the meat he eats every day is intentionally rotted for over a year. As a child, Aajonus was constantly getting sick, and he fought through years of frustrating illness.
By the time I was probably 6, 7 years old, I developed colds and flus that would last from 3 to 5 months.
Then, in the late 60s, Aajonus was diagnosed with deadly lymphoma cancer. He immediately began a series of radiation treatments to halt the deadly disease. But the cancer kept on spreading. Fearing the end was near, Aajonus set out to travel the world. While in Alaska, members of a local Inuit tribe took him in. According to their custom, they encouraged the dying man to eat a remedy of raw, rotten meat.
It stunk like dead animal, and I mean, it was horrendous. I couldn't get within 5 feet without wanting to vomit. I thought I was having a near-death experience, so I went and lied down my campsite and woke the next day and I wasn't dead and I felt better.
Feeling like a new man, Aajonus decided to explore in depth the world of putrid meats and organs. He discovered there's actually a science to this diet of decomposition.
Well, bacteria, virus, and parasites feed on degenerative tissue. So it helps you get rid of the poisons that are in the body. It's like the vultures and crows. They feed on degenerative animals. They don't go around attacking healthy animals.
Now, preparing food is a simple process. He chops a variety of animal parts into cubes. These he places in jars with plenty of airspace. Then, Aajonus lets nature take its course.
You have to open it every 3 to 4 days to put more oxygen in it to keep the bacteria moving.
The meat's not ready until mold and bacteria have done their dirty work for at least a month. But a warning, eating any spoiled food can be extremely dangerous, even deadly. Don't try this at home. In fact, it's a putrefaction process so hazardous that food safety specialist Jeff Davidson simply cannot support it.
I'm guessing a lot of people are going to be concerned with things like an E. coli, a salmonella, even botulism. Maybe you're going to vomit. You may have some days of diarrhea.
All right, this is a buffalo heart chopped up.
Oh, whoa.
Some of Aajonus's favorite meats decay in their own juices for over a year.
This is cod livers. This is about 1 year and 3 months old.
Though doctors warn that consuming spoiled food could lead to illness or even death, Aajonus claims his afflictions have miraculously disappeared. A situation he attributes to consuming spoiled cuisine. As strange as it may sound, with each bite of rotten flesh, Aajonus says he only gets stronger. This rotten meat eater has even written a how-to book about his unique diet. And not only that, he's a certified nutritionist actually counseling patients to improve their health. But even with all the positive benefits he attributes to eating rotten flesh, Aajonus does have one important piece of advice.
You don't want to do it in your house because it'll stink your house up.
Believe it.
Well, today's show is full of some of the most eyebrow-raising, surprising, and downright shocking health trends that you've ever seen, and it all starts right now.
Today on The Doctors, the raw food diet
I ate raw meat to kill myself, and it did just the opposite.
that turned into a debate.
You've been taught the bacteria theory.
Bacteria is not a theory.
Something else I think is complete nonsense, and everyone has probably considered doing it. They're called detox diets, everyone out there, there's a message in the popular media that we're full of all these toxins and our bodies don't have any idea how to get rid of them. So you got to detox yourself with these crazy diets to live a normal life, which is absurd.
Show me the toxins. I mean,
well, I think when people are, you know, people who drink and smoke, they're trying to figure out ways to get that out of their body. But the only way is to stop. You know?
That is true.
Stop, and your natural organs will detoxify anyway.
It's certain medications, and we know that food is treated. It can be treated with insecticides, things like that. But it's up to us to first make sure things are clean, wash them, and then you're less likely to consume something that potentially could be a toxin. Right. But the whole concept that your colon gets caked with all this crud, bad stuff, that's not happening.
Well, we've got livers for a reason. Well, and our livers and our kidneys, they detoxify
and our
us.
spleen.
So let's talk about this, though, because we actually did a show here where someone was on the Master Cleanse diet for a week, and it's lemon juice, maple syrup, pepper, and that's all you drink. We're going to move on to another really interesting trend, number 9 on our list. Everyone's heard about a raw food diet. Well, have you ever heard of the raw meat diet? It's true. It's reported certain celebrities have sworn by it. Well, here to tell us about the raw meat diet is author of We Want to Live, The Primal Diet, and Recipe for Living Without Disease, Aajonus Vonderplanitz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell you what, when I read about your diet that you eat, I was shocked because raw meat in general, we always say don't eat it because it's filled with bacteria that can cause serious illness, even death, salmonella amongst them. Right. So what I want you to come up here and let's talk a little bit about what you eat and why. Come on up. First off, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, no, I would never eat that. I would never eat that. I'd eat that, and I would eat those if they were cooked. So why do you say this is healthy for us?
Well, I was dying of multiple myeloma and lymphoma and stomach cancer 40 years ago. They said I would never be able to eat any raw food again, that if I ate even a banana or an apple, that I'd have to steam it. The cancer resurfaced again when I was about 30 years old. And I decided that I was just not going to live through it again because it was very painful. So I ate the raw meat to kill myself. And it did just the opposite. It invigorated me for the first time in my life.
So you're eating literally raw meat. This is raw chicken.
Correct.
And you're just eating that.
Correct.
And where are you getting the
Do you
chicken?
eat it right off the bone like that?
Well, I can eat it right off the bone. Would you like to see?
Have you prepared it specially? Is it a particular kind of meat?
No, well, my preparation is to leave it out to get room temperature. This is a little cold. There's no taste. It's like, you know, paper.
Do you buy it from the regular grocery store?
No, this is Rocky Jr. chicken, which is grown on non-GMO corn.
Do you eat fruits and vegetables, or do you just pretty much eat raw meat?
I eat 1 fruit a day and vegetable juice, not whole vegetables.
So, you know, as doctors, we have to challenge you a little bit here because...
I'm getting hungry.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is really good.
Can't watch.
I'm sorry.
Now, all the respect in the world for you and what you're doing. I do not recommend this to anyone at home or anyone in the audience. A raw meat diet, I'm going to tell you right now, runs the risk of so many bad things, whether it's salmonella amongst others. And, you know, again, to each their own.
For pregnant women, obviously toxoplasmosis we're very concerned about for raw meat, and that can cause birth effects.
Especially
the women who've been pregnant on this diet, when they give birth, only have 2 contractions and the baby's out.
But
Very
what's
easy
going
and
on
very
with their
good.
babies?
I'm going to challenge you on some other things. I read your history as well. Like, there are a lot of things that you claim that I have trouble. You said you had 300 heart attacks by the time you were 22.
Yeah.
And so there are all these huge claims that I have trouble backing up with science. And so I'm not saying that this diet for you isn't a wonderful thing and that there aren't people in the world who eat this diet that don't live happy, healthy lives. But this is a dangerous diet for your average person.
How do you know that?
Because in the ER, I have taken care of people who have actually almost died from eating raw chicken.
My question is,
how have you seen that's eaten raw chicken? I think that's a myth. I don't believe you.
My question is,
I've done it.
25,000
25,000 people do it.
A lot of kids, especially, are prone to food poisoning, and you know, E. coli especially, from unpasteurized juice and milk, and that would, you know, that's dangerous.
That is a myth. When I did my laboratory work.
Pasteurization was a breakthrough, a health breakthrough.
To prove that it's not a myth.
How do you feel that cooking hurts the food?
If you will let me contest you, laboratory-wise, how much have you done on observing people who've eaten raw meat? How much laboratory work have you done?
I'm actually agreeing that I think raw food, raw vegetables, raw fruit, and you know, is great. But there's a huge
there's not enough protein in it.
And there's for some of the meats and for milk, there's risk for infections that you really got to be concerned about.
See, the problem is that you've been taught the bacteria theory, which is a complete...
Bacteria is not a theory, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
well,
no,
bacteria is not a theory. There's bacteria in all of this. To fear these is a problem. When you pasteurize or cook something and the bacteria feeds on it, then you have a toxic byproduct. That's why 2 years ago at Davis University in Northern California, they took raw milk and they spiked it with 5 different bacteria that are accused of growing in raw milk. Since the lactic acid is raw, the bacteria could not grow. It could not flourish. However, when they spiked pasteurized milk, it grew in an instant. That was dangerous. So raw milk, raw meat or not, when you cook them and then the bacteria feeds on it, there are toxic byproducts. Otherwise, they help you.
So the takeaway here is, again, you know, this is a diet that you've used that has contributed, in your opinion, greatly to your health. And I think that is wonderful. That's the whole point of the show. Shocking health trends. Again, I think it's wonderful that you eat this. No thanks, not for me. I'll take my chicken cooked, thank you.
Have you ever been to a French restaurant?
I
Steak
have.
tartare, raw meat with raw eggs.
Right, and absolutely, there are certain meats and fish, sushi, that if prepared correctly,
I love raw.
you know, in the right way, are lower in risk for bacteria and all these other bad things. But again, if you're at home, don't go to the grocery store and pick up a few chicken breasts and eat them raw, because you do risk very serious illness.